Legally, I'm not allowed to share how you should take title of your property, but if it was my property, here's what I would do. In California, married couples often have a choice of taking title on a property as joint tenancy or community property with the right of survivorship. Now, both options work in the sense that if one spouse passes away, the property will automatically transfer over to the surviving spouse. However, community property with the right of survivorship does have some key advantages, and that's what I would choose if it was my property. One of the most significant benefits of community property with the right of survivorship is a double step up in basis. Upon the death of one spouse, the entire property's tax base is adjusted to its current market value. This adjustment could substantially reduce capital gain taxes if the property is later sold by the surviving spouse. In contrast with joint tenancy, only the deceased spouse's half receives a step-up basis, leaving the surviving spouse potentially liable for higher capital gain taxes on their original half. Here's a perfect example. Let's say Bob and Jane purchased a property in the 80s for $100,000, and today it's worth $1 million, right? Upon Bob's death, now Jane could take the double and step up basis, meaning if she ever decides to sell the property in the future, instead of having a base of $100,000, now the property's base is $1 million. So that's a huge saving for Jane. Similar to joint tenancy, upon one spouse's death, the property automatically transfers over to the surviving spouse under community property with the right of survivorship. So you still avoid the whole probate process. Next is equal ownership and control. Community property with the right of survivorship acknowledges the equal contribution of both spouses by granting each an equal share in the property. This structure aligns with California community property laws, ensuring that both parties have equal rights and control over the property during their lifetimes. Here's another key point: protection against individual debts. So in a joint tenancy, I actually wrote down creditors of one spouse can potentially claim that spouse's interest in that property. So however, I wrote under community property right of survivorship, the property is generally shielded from the individual debts of the spouse, meaning you have greater protection under community property right of survivorship if one spouse passes away. And lastly, most estate planning attorneys will agree with me on this, that they prefer their clients take vesting as community property with right of survivorship. So it goes aligned with the estate planning process. In summary, you have the option as a married couple to take title as joint tenancy or community property with right of survivorship. As I mentioned earlier, legally, I cannot tell you or advise you how you should take title to a property. You should definitely consult with a CPA, your estate planning attorney, and you'll see if I'm right or wrong. So I hope you guys found value out of this video, and I'll see you on the next one.